The Soviet Union was starting to open up before the wall came down. I came to the conclusion after talking to the Soviet fellows that we had more Marxists in Cambridge than we did in the Kremlin at that point in time. So my somewhat facetious answer is we should cut the salaries of all the very left-leaning professors in this country. But I'm very serious about that, because one thing that really bothered me is we have a lot of young, bright, impressionable students, but we also have a lot of foreign students who come to this country, and they hear all this crazy left-leaning stuff that's anti-American and anti-U.S., and it's a disservice to our country. And so, but anyway, I do believe in education as a public good. As I said, it lowers crime rates, increases productivity. I know it's not easy. I went to a federal service academy. I paid my way through my graduate programs. It's one of the best investments one can make. And you know, people have a hard time with tuition. You take out loans, take out whatever you can, but just get your education. I mentor a lot of younger people, and I said, try to do it as early as you can. I know everybody's got different problems. I do not like government subsidies and intervention, but there's two areas where I think it's for the greater good. One of them is education, and the other one is home ownership. And we have institutionalized some of those. We've had some problems with it. And I will tell you, I think it's for the collective good of our country, because once you own a house and once you have an education, you have a greater stake in this process. You can be more productive. You're going to be paying this country back a number of times. So anyway, you come work with my campaign. We may help you with your tuition payments, okay? And I appreciate all the great work. I know it's you and DJ with the Young Republicans, and you with the College Republicans, and of course Jim with Bear-Drift. Great public service, and I know you guys aren't getting paid for this at all. And so I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Loyola.
I think a good part of the problem with the education system for yourself as a student is the factor economy. If you look at the deficit Bob and Donald inherited, $4 billion. You're showing the ratio between students and teachers increased because we don't have the money to be able to pay for more teachers. We don't have the money to pay for more school improvements, additional schools. It all comes down to lack of economic prosperity that made this country great. So we must correct the economy to allow prosperity both in education and business and in home construction and expanding throughout the United States. That has to happen, otherwise you'll continue to see the symptoms of a broken economy. With a $4 billion deficit, he's had to do a lot of cuts, and sadly things increase in cost because they still have to pay electricity and power and what they have, the teachers that are already established, and that all raises costs. So the worse the economy gets, the more difficult it is for you to basically pay for education. But ultimately, free market principles is what's going to make it more affordable. My wife decided to go back to school. She went to TCC, Old Dominion here, and then EDMS, Eastern Virginia Med School. Now she's physician assistant. Significant debt because of that, because of going back to school, and we're paying for that. And the biggest challenge is not the bill, it's the fact of the economy, which has affected my business as a small business owner. Where we saw 65% reduction in across a year and a half. And we're still not seeing any clearing of this storm. And if you're trying to keep your employees and keep things going on and provide, we pay for education for our employees, we pay for college education, we pay for continuing education. It makes it harder when the bottom line, when I can't provide those programs. So just like when you're having a family someday, you're going to be trying to save up for your children and provide for them. And through this economic calamity that we're having right now, it makes it so hard because you're trying to pay for the essentials. And that's why it's so imperative that we have to fix the economy. And then you'll have the money, the prosperity, and the choices and opportunity through more competition to be able to afford education. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Sandlin.
Well, I can tell you what will not help you, and that is sending the same people to Congress to do the same job that these guys keep doing again and again and again. Congress is 52% lawyers. Fully 40% listed their past business occupation as business. Fully 1/5 of our Congress have their MBAs. What's wrong with this picture? We're sending the same kinds of people and we're getting the same kinds of results. Now, I bring ignorance to the table. I think that's great. It's a fresh perspective. I'm a mom. I have 3 teenagers. My 16-and-a-half-year-old daughter will be looking at colleges next year. We're looking at the prices right now, and I'm just dropping to my knees going, oh my God. Even in my wildest dreams, 17 years ago, I did not imagine college would be this much. What I'm having to say to her is, this is an opportunity for you. And I've been saying it to my younger kids now that I've been looking at it with her. It's an opportunity for you. Excel in a sport. Title IX makes that a great opportunity for women to get money to go to college. Excel in your academics. It's too late for you, I'm so sorry. Excel in your academics and go for those scholarships so that you don't come out the other side with these wicked student loans. For those who are able, apply for a Pell Grant. I think that's a questionable thing the way we're working it right now with divorced couples, where we're looking at the income only of the parent the child lives with, and we're not looking at all of the income of the other parent. So if you have a mother making $30,000 a year and the children live with her 70% of the time, and you look at the father and he's making $200,000, they're never going to come calling on his income. That child will get a Pell Grant. Now, whether or not that's right or wrong, I'm not sure, but it does raise an eyebrow if the dad's willing to participate that says, well, the federal government's willing to give $6,000, so I'm not going to get involved right now. We're going to claim you that to get that Pell Grant. Thank you.
Ms. Sandlin, go ahead and keep the microphone. As I mentioned to the candidates, I have, as ParentDrift.com, a special question for you all. It's a 15-second response. I will be keeping the time, and the question is this: will you support and campaign for the eventual Republican nominee if it is not yourself?
Absolutely. And I am really excited about this because in my campaign, I have been bringing different people to the party. I've been bringing people who were fiscal conservatives but called themselves Democrats. And they look at me and they say, you're the first Republican I could vote for. So I am excited. Thank you.
Mr. Mississauga.
The answer is yes, unless they do something that I consider too egregious as a matter of character to be a leader representing the great people of this district. Thank you.
Mr. Malbeck.
No. I could support, I wouldn't campaign for, actually one candidate that's not here. I would have a problem campaigning for that candidate. Thank you.
Mr. Loyal.
I would support the Republican candidate that I can believe in, I believe in their history, their beliefs, and they've walked the walk and talked the talk. Because ultimately it's a representative republic, it's not a democracy, and you're going to have to elect somebody that's going to go up there and do what is necessary when the time is called. Not constantly listen and check the wind vane and what's going on across the country, because it's not about that. Thank you.
Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, the simple answer is yes, I will support the nominee. Will I campaign for them? That also depends on if they do something that I feel is unethical, or they shouldn't be representing us in Congress, my family, my friends, and the folks in this district. Thank you.
Also, I think probably the audience would like to hear probably a closing pitch from you guys. So 1 minute, if you care to. And we'll start with Mr. Poole, go the opposite direction.
First of all, thank you all for coming here and braving through this. It's been a little bit. I see the faces sagging a little bit. No big deal. I know y'all are hungry. I'm hungry. Again, I'm Scott Taylor. I'm a former United States Navy SEAL. I'm an Iraq War veteran. I'm a small business owner. I'm going up there not as a cookie-cutter politician, so you won't get cookie-cutter results. Again, I was raised on the Eastern Shore by a single mother in humble beginnings, but I have never ever felt as though I couldn't be as successful as I was willing to be. And that is the America that I'm fighting for. And my promise to you is when I was working on a farm as a young man, I had blisters. I worked until I had blisters in the Navy SEAL teams, and I promise you that I will work until I have blisters on this campaign and beyond. Thank you very much. God bless you all, and have a great night. Thanks.
Mr. Loyola.
I appreciate the opportunity to address you all here tonight and answer a multitude of great questions. I'm running on a conservative, both fiscal and constitutional conservative platform as a Reagan Republican. I've served my country in 30 years around the world, and I want to continue serving up in Washington, D.C. This area has the highest concentration of military in the country. 7 major commands, and you're going to need to elect somebody that can truly represent this way of life that we have here, which is tied to defense. Because back when the ships were wooden and then we had sailing ships, it's because of protected port, and that's why we have master bases in ships. Ocean and Naval Air Station are all tied together throughout this our community, and we're here because of defense. and you have to elect somebody that understands economic principles that made this country great. I started my business in a spare bedroom, and I've grown that to over 40 employees. I was an award-winning company by the State Chamber of Commerce, Virginia's Fantastic 50. I know what it is to make